Listen closely, man, because this is the kind of truth that can completely change how you approach relationships. Most guys enter them thinking it's a straightforward exchange. I give her love, she gives me loyalty. But that's a simplistic way of seeing things, and it's dead wrong. Women don't operate like a business deal or a trade agreement. Society teaches you to show up with your heart wide open, vulnerability dripping, your plans all laid out like you're ticking boxes for some emotional checklist. You think that kind of raw honesty is a strength, a virtue to be proud of. But here's the brutal truth. This kind of emotional nakedness, without understanding what really drives women's feelings, is the very thing that gets you played. Women don't respond to what you do for them. They respond to how you make them feel, right here, right now. That's the catch, the invisible trap, the game most men don't even know they're in until it's too late. Women are wired to be emotional creatures. This isn't some insult or weakness, it's just how they're built. Their attraction, their commitment, and the attention they give you aren't fixed. They ebb and flow depending on how emotionally stable or unstable they feel when they're around you. So when you're sitting there thinking she left because you weren't rich enough, tall enough, or funny enough, the real reason is she stopped feeling something with you. And if you don't grasp just how fast those emotional currents can change, you'll keep beating yourself up about what you didn't do right. Here's the cold, hard truth. It wasn't about your effort at all. You could have given her everything she ever wanted, but if the emotional connection died, so did her loyalty. The worst mistake a man can make is living in the illusion that just showing up every day and being consistent means she feels secure and committed. That's not how it works. Quick break. Close your eyes for a second. Picture her, the girl you've always wanted. Feel what it would be like to actually have her. Now open your eyes, because here's the truth. Right now, you're invisible to her. You're getting outcompeted by guys with more money, better looks, higher status, and stronger game. You're playing a rigged game, and you're losing. But I've spent the last 35 years mastering this, studying, testing, and finally finding the secrets to get the girls I always wanted. You want to stop getting ignored? You want her chasing you? Then you need to wake up and act. Click the link in the comments if you are truly committed and take the first step toward becoming that guy. Few spots left. Be fast or miss out your last chance to make her yours. Let's get back to it. You show up every day, you check her texts, plan dates, remember anniversaries, you do all the right things. Then one day, seemingly out of nowhere, she's cold, different, distant. Your first thought? What did I do wrong? But the truth is she's responding to something deeper, an emotional undercurrent you never even noticed. Maybe you stopped challenging her. Maybe you became too predictable. Maybe your energy softened, lost that edge. But she won't come out and tell you this directly. Instead, she just pulls away quietly, then tells herself, and maybe even you, that she's not feeling it anymore. And that, brother, is how you get played while believing you were doing everything perfectly. Here's the one thing you need to tattoo into your mind. Women are loyal to their emotions, not your actions. This isn't about betrayal or manipulation. They're not consciously trying to hurt you. They're simply acting in alignment with what they feel in that moment. If she feels ignored, she'll look for attention elsewhere. If she's bored, she'll crave drama. If she's insecure, she'll test your limits. If she feels unsafe, she'll pull back and create distance. But when she feels emotionally overwhelmed by a man's presence in a way that both excites and grounds her, she'll chase him with a fire and intensity most guys only see in movies. This isn't a battle of logic. It's a dance with emotion, and that's why emotional mastery trumps any pickup line, dating advice, or social strategy you've ever heard. When you stay calm while she spirals, grounded while she tests you, centered while her mood shifts, you become a lighthouse. And women don't swim away from lighthouses, they anchor to them. But if you get pulled into her chaos, match her emotional ups and downs, beg for her validation, or start doubting your own worth because she got moody, now you're reacting. And that's when you lose control. And that's exactly when you lose frame. When you start reacting emotionally, whether it's frustration, anger, confusion, or desperation, she silently takes the reins. She begins pulling the strings behind the scenes, and you don't even realize it's happening. This is the moment where most men get played without knowing it. So what's the solution? You have to learn to read emotion like a language. Pay attention to the subtle shifts in her energy, the little cues when she's testing you, when she's pulling away, when she's pushing your boundaries just to see if you'll stand firm. These moments aren't problems to avoid or fights to win. They're invitations. Invitations to lead, to assert yourself with calm authority, to stay grounded and still even when every fiber in your body wants to chase after her or prove yourself. That kind of restraint, holding your calm, embodying quiet confidence, that's what screams masculine power. It's magnetic. It's what keeps a woman coming back again and again. Not just your love or your attention, but your leadership. Because leadership in a relationship isn't about control or dominance. It's about emotional steadiness, clarity, and strength. You don't have to be rich or famous. You don't have to have the perfect job or the perfect look. But you do have to be rooted. Women crave safety, and not the kind that comes from money or status, emotional safety. Can she feel your strength when she's at her weakest? Can she collapse into your arms emotionally without fearing that you'll collapse with her or break under the weight? Can she throw a tantrum, lose control, or get moody and still see that you don't react immaturely or get shaken? That's the kind of man she respects deeply. That's the kind of man she fears losing. And that fear, that emotional gravity, is what keeps her loyal. Not obligation, not guilt, but something far more powerful, the undeniable pull of true strength. Let me take this a step further. Women don't test men because they want to break them or because they're mean-spirited. Their nervous systems are hardwired to seek out strength. It's biology, not malice. When she tests you, whether through passive-aggressive comments, pulling back without explanation, or flirting with uncertainty, it's her way of asking, "Are you real? Are you strong enough? Can I trust you?" If you respond with panic, neediness, or over-explaining, you fail the test immediately. But if you respond with a smile, hold your frame, and refuse to chase, you pass. And suddenly her energy shifts because you didn't fall for the bait. That steadiness, that calm confidence is what makes you strong. And strength is irresistibly sexy. She'll pull back for no clear reason. She might flirt with uncertainty, testing the waters just to see how you respond. And here's the critical point. If you react with panic, neediness, or desperation, you've already failed the test. But if you stay calm, smile, hold your frame firmly, and don't chase after her, you'll notice something almost immediate. Her energy shifts. It changes because you didn't fall for the bait. You didn't give her the reaction she was looking for. That's a clear sign of strength. And make no mistake, strength is magnetic. Strength is sexy. The truth most guys don't realize is that many women aren't even fully conscious of how their emotional patterns work. They live moment to moment in their feelings, constantly adapting, reacting, shifting. One minute she's daydreaming about a future with you, and the next she's ghosting you without explanation. It's confusing, frustrating, and it feels personal. But you want to know the real reason? Because the emotional thread that connected you snapped and you never saw it coming. Not because you did anything wrong, not because you were a bad partner, but simply because you were unaware of the emotional currents beneath the surface. And awareness, that's everything. Once you start tuning into her energy more than her words, you begin to see what's really happening beneath the surface. So, what's the core truth you must understand? Women don't fall in love with what you do. They fall for how you make them feel. Not in some fake, performative way, but through your natural, grounded presence. A woman wants to feel seen, but not smothered. She wants to feel led, but not controlled. She wants to feel pursued, but never chased. It's a delicate balance that most men never learn because they're too busy trying to be nice instead of being real. But once you master this balance, once you develop emotional awareness and presence, you become the kind of man women don't play with. Your very presence demands respect, so stop wasting time trying to memorize the perfect things to say. Instead, focus on becoming the kind of man who doesn't feel the need to say much at all. Be the man who doesn't react impulsively to disrespect. The man who calmly walks away from emotional games without getting sucked in. The man who doesn't flinch or panic when she threatens to leave. Your calm becomes your greatest power. Your silence becomes your firmest boundary. Your lack of neediness transforms into irresistible attraction. Suddenly, you're not the one chasing her energy. You're the one controlling the room with your own presence. Let her be unpredictable. Let her feel her storms. Your role isn't to fix her emotions or solve her inner chaos. It's to remain grounded in your own. When you become that kind of man, women stop playing games with you because the game simply doesn't work anymore. They sense it instinctively. They feel it deep down. They see that you're not easily shaken, that you don't lose sleep over confusion or drama, that you don't fall in love with a mask or a fleeting version of her. You wait, you watch, you choose, and that steady power, that unshakable presence, that's what keeps you unplayed. Here's a crucial truth you need to absorb. Stop assigning permanence to temporary behavior. Just because she said, "I love you" yesterday, doesn't guarantee she'll mean it next week. Just because she opened up once doesn't mean she's yours forever. Women move with emotion, and emotions shift constantly. But if your identity stays solid, rooted and steady, her emotional fluctuations won't shake your core. You become stable. You become immovable, and ironically, it's exactly that unwavering stability that makes her feel safe enough to stay. A woman is always a reflection of your energy, your true emotional state projected back at you like a mirror. When you show up needy, desperate for validation, she instinctively mirrors that by pulling away, creating distance. If you come in insecure, unsure of yourself, she responds with tests, small challenges and subtle pushes to see if you can hold your ground. But when you show up strong, steady, and emotionally balanced, she softens, she surrenders, she leans in with trust and openness because your calm presence invites her to drop her defenses. This is why the real power lies not in trying to change her reactions, that's a losing game, but in mastering your own actions and energy. You can't control how she responds, but you can control how you carry yourself. That's the only way you truly win. That's the only way you stop getting played, because a woman can't manipulate or test a man who doesn't rely on her approval to feel like a man in the first place. Every time you tolerate disrespect, over-explain yourself, chase after her affection, or apologize for your masculinity, you're unknowingly training her to lose respect for you. Respect isn't given freely, it's earned and preserved through your boundaries and self-worth. Women are naturally drawn to men they can look up to, not men they feel the need to control or manage. So become that man, speak less, observe more, lead with quiet confidence and clear direction, never desperation or neediness. And here's something too many guys overlook. Women don't fall in love with the guy who tries to make them happy. They fall in love with the guy who is already at peace with himself, who has his own life, his own purpose, and his own emotional stability. Emotional detachment isn't cold or uncaring as some believe. It's clarity. It's the ability to witness her emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. When she pulls back, you don't panic. When she's hot and cold, you stay warm, consistent, and grounded. When she ghosts, don't chase. That stillness you maintain in the face of her silence, that quiet, unshakable calm, is what breaks the cycle of emotional games. She feels it instinctively. This man does not fold under pressure, does not scramble for approval, does not beg for attention when it disappears. That strength, that emotional steadiness, it stops the game dead in its tracks. Understanding this is your liberation. You don't need her to pick you because you have already chosen yourself, your peace, your purpose, your unbreakable standard. If she aligns with your energy and values, wonderful. If she doesn't, release her without anger, without desperation, without diminishing yourself. Do it with quiet dignity, because your worth is not tethered to her presence. Her decision to walk away does not lessen your value. It simply reveals that she was not meant to be part of the version of you who refuses to be played, manipulated, or diminished. The men who get played are the ones who put a woman's presence at the center of their lives, building their identity around her attention and approval. Don't be that man. Build your life so solid, so rich, and so fulfilling that her presence only enhances your world, but her absence cannot shatter it. That kind of man is unshakable, unbreakable. He is the man a woman fears losing because his energy doesn't chase. It attracts naturally, effortlessly, like gravity, and she can feel this deep down in her bones. Every time you choose your peace over her chaos, you become harder to replace. Every time you lead with calm and clarity instead of reacting out of emotion or desperation, you become more rare, more valuable. Every time you say no to emotional games and yes to your own standards, you stop being just another chapter in her past and start becoming the man she cannot forget. Power does not shout. It whispers quietly but profoundly. A man who truly understands himself never has to convince anyone else of his worth. It's simply undeniable. So hear this and commit it to memory for life. Women follow emotional gravity, not promises, gifts, or good intentions. When you finally understand this, you stop trying to earn love as if it were charity. You begin commanding it with your presence. You stop overthinking and start observing with clarity. You stop begging and start leading with quiet confidence. And the moment you shift from being the boy desperate to be chosen into the man who chooses, everything changes. That is the moment you become truly unplayable. You become the kind of man who stands firm amid storms, who doesn't flinch when the winds of uncertainty blow. You become the man who doesn't seek validation through her eyes, but who holds his own vision steady and clear. You become the man who knows his value so deeply that no fleeting emotion or temporary absence can shake his foundation. This is not arrogance, this is grounded self-respect. And women are drawn to that like moths to a flame, because at the end of the day, attraction isn't about grand gestures or expensive gifts. It's about the unspoken energy you carry. It's about the peace you hold inside yourself when everything outside feels chaotic. It's about the confidence that you are enough as you are, and the patience to wait for someone who sees that, respects that, and chooses to stay. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. If this message spoke to you or gave you something to think about, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new drop. I've got more real talk, more growth, and more power coming your way. So stay locked in. And if you're going through something right now, just remember, your silence can say more than 1,000 words ever could. Take care of yourself, keep rising, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.